Have you ever wondered, what in the world is the prostate gland for? Well, the prostate, along with two other glands, contributes essential components or ingredients to the seminal fluid, which we're about to find out is extremely important for sperm cells and therefore successful reproduction. So in today's video, we're going to talk about exactly what the prostate and these two other glands produce in order to create proper seminal fluid, because we need to give those sperm cells a fighting chance. It's going to be quite the exciting one. So let's do this. So let's start by distinguishing between semen and seminal fluid. Semen is the mixture of sperm cells plus the seminal fluid. And the seminal fluid is going to be created by these male accessory sex glands, and a little bit of the fluid will also come from tubules inside the testes. But these male accessory sex glands are going to include, yes, the prostate, as well as the two other glands that I've alluded to, called the seminal glands, sometimes referred to as the seminal vesicles, as well as the bulbourethral glands. Now, we have already strongly implied that what is in the seminal fluid is going to be extremely important for the sperm cells on what some may consider a treacherous journey through the female reproductive tract to get into the uterus and the uterine tube and to potentially fertilize an egg. And we'll definitely get into the details of what's in the seminal fluid to help with the sperm cells, but I do want to mention one very interesting and important thing here, and that is the ratio of sperm to seminal fluid. This is actually very important. For example, if you had too many sperm cells but too little seminal fluid, almost as if the semen would be too concentrated, then those sperm cells would be too close together and their tails could literally get tangled and they would lose their motility or their ability to swim. Now, admittedly, the 12-year-old boy inside of me finds that slightly comical, but it's really cool and interesting to understand that that sperm to seminal fluid ratio is extremely important for successful reproduction. So let's get into more detail about the seminal fluid by taking a look at the prostate gland. The prostate gland is about the size of a ping pong ball and located just inferior or below the bladder. It also shares some proximity to the rectum, which is why some people may have experienced a digital rectal exam when a clinician is trying to palpate the prostate for certain conditions. Also of note, the urethra passes directly through the prostate, and this is where these prostatic secretions are going to dump into. But as I mentioned, certain prostate conditions, this urethra passing through also explains why somebody who develops benign prostatic hyperplasia, when the prostate starts to grow or increase in size later in life, this can explain why it can crunch down on the urethra and make it difficult to pee with somebody who has BPH. But what is included in these prostatic secretions? Well, one of the things the prostate produces is citric acid, and the citric acid is going to be utilized by the sperm cells in order to create ATP, which is the energy currency of our cells, and this makes sense because the sperm are going to need energy in order to power all those flagella. Something else the prostate also produces are proteolytic enzymes. Proteolytic enzymes help to break down proteins, and you may have heard of one of these proteolytic enzymes called prostate-specific antigen, or PSA. And we'll get into more detail of what these proteolytic enzymes can potentially do when we talk about the seminal glands in just a second. But the last thing I want to mention is that the prostate produces something called seminal plasmin. Seminal plasmin is actually an antibiotic, which can help reduce the number of bacteria in the seminal fluid, as well as potentially reduce the number of bacteria in the lower female reproductive tract. Now, all of these secretions from the prostate, the proteolytic enzymes, the citric acid, and the seminal plasmin contribute to about 25% of the overall seminal fluid. So we definitely need to get in to see what the seminal glands produce, as well as the bulbourethral glands. The seminal glands, or seminal vesicles, there are two of these, are these 5-centimeter pouch-like glands that are behind and at the base of the bladder. And they secrete an alkaline type of a fluid, which will help to neutralize the acidic environment in the male urethra, as well as the acidic environment in the female reproductive tract. And this is important because these acidic environments would otherwise kill the sperm cells. The seminal glands also produce fructose, which can also be utilized for the sperm cells to create even more ATP. And these glands also produce chemicals called prostaglandins. These prostaglandins are thought to potentially stimulate smooth muscle contractions within the female reproductive tract, and this could potentially help to propel the sperm cells even further upstream to get closer to fertilizing an egg. Clotting proteins are even produced by the seminal glands. Now, these clotting proteins are going to be a little bit different than what you'd find within the blood, but what happens is after semen is released by the male reproductive tract, these clotting proteins cause the fluid to start to clump or coagulate together. And it's thought that this can kind of help it stay or stop it from leaking out of the female reproductive tract. But this only lasts for about 10 to 15 minutes, because remember those proteolytic enzymes that were produced by the prostate glands. After about 10 to 15 minutes, those proteolytic enzymes will break down these clotting proteins and then reliquefy, if you will, the semen, so then the sperm can actually continue on their way, because in that coagulated state, it would stop the motility of the sperm. Now, all of these secretions created by the seminal glands contributes to about 60% of the overall seminal fluid. So we're almost there, and let's get into these bulbourethral glands. The two bulbourethral glands are about the size of a pea, and they're embedded in the pelvic floor muscles. Now, these glands tend to get activated during sexual arousal and create what's known as the pre-ejaculate. Now, what's made up of this secretion from the bulbourethral glands is, again, another alkaline substance that can help to neutralize the acidic environment of the urethra, but also some mucus to help lubricate the urethra to help minimize any damage to the sperm cells as they pass through and out of the urethra. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of the important components that make up proper seminal fluid and how that can help those little sperm cells. And if you like learning about this type of stuff and just love science in general, you're likely going to love the sponsor of today's video, Brilliant. Brilliant.org is an awesome interactive online learning platform for STEM subjects. It's one of the best ways to learn math, science, and computer science. And trust me, I wouldn't be telling you all these great things about Brilliant if I didn't actually use it myself. I have it on my phone, I also access it on my laptop, and some of my favorite courses are the lessons on scientific thinking, because I love challenging my logic and applying new information that I've learned to real-world situations. Another incredible thing about Brilliant is that they are constantly adding new lessons each and every month. So no matter where you are on your educational journey, whether you're in junior high, high school, college, or just want to be a lifelong learner, Brilliant will definitely have lessons that are applicable to you. So if you're interested in being a little bit more brilliant, go to brilliant.org/IHA to start your free 30-day trial, plus the first 200 people will get 20% off their annual subscription. We'll also include that info and the link in the description below. And real quick, Jeffrey and I want to say thank you to all of you for watching and supporting our channel. We could not continue to make videos like we do without your continued support. So we definitely want you to know how much we appreciate that and everything you've done to help us grow this channel. We also could not do this without those who donate their bodies to science and education. It's a priceless, amazing anatomical gift. It's incredible to be able to learn about the human body by actually holding and looking at a heart, feeling and palpating muscles, and hopefully you guys can see how awesome that is through some of our videos. So we want to also say thank you to those who donate their bodies as well as their families. And if you're new to our channel and you like what you've been watching, go ahead and subscribe if you feel the need. Hit that like button. Comment below, as we love reading through those comments. And of course, we'll see you next time.